Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Cairo and today we're going to be talking about what does fear do to us? More specifically, does fear enhance us beyond our own skill level? I don't know what I'm awful about. Also, just quickly, if you guys see this video, whenever this is happening, I'm probably doing a 24-hour stream. So I hope you guys are there for that. And yeah, let's get into it. So, as many of you know, or many of you don't know if you're new to this channel, I made a video a couple weeks ago talking about a fear that I personally have, a phobia, if you will, and it's called Eurotophobia. I would highly recommend watching the video for more context, more information, but generalizing it, it is the fear of anything sexual like, or sexual in nature. And what does that mean for me? Well, basically, I just can't, like, watch porn, can't watch somebody have sex. You know what it means. I don't need to get into it. But it is kind of varied still, so yeah. But what does this do to me? And should I remove my fear of this? My answer is a little controversial. No. Here's why. Back in the day, when I was a young teen, I used to masturbate so fucking much. It is unbelievable. Like, basically every day. I was going to bed. Oh, let me just stroke my dick and getting into bed and sleeping or whatever. And this was during a time, if you saw the last video, you know, I was stupid back then. I could not figure out my left from my fucking right. So, of course, I thought that this was like, you would think that basically I would just keep doing this until I was like, bro, you need to stop. It's like an addiction. I already knew I didn't want this. So when I masturbate, basically what happens is I go into like I feel like I get downgraded as a human being. Like I just can't function correctly. And every time I masturbate, I get like really bad anxiety, maybe erotophobia, your guess, but also like severe depression, severe lost in thinking. Well, not, I wouldn't say severe. That means I'm like autistic or something. I just could not think straight. Basically just had, like, whenever I would play video games, I would just like, my skill would decrease rapidly, essentially. And I chalk this up to masturbation as a whole. And I said in the video, I have some very controversial viewpoints on porn, but they're all generalized to me. I'll never say that you shouldn't masturbate, but generally speaking, I cannot. I repeat, cannot do that. Even if I didn't have erotophobia, I would basically just not like myself after that. And so Eurotophobia, in my eyes, is actually amazing for me. The fear that I have to keep myself up to this bar that I can't stoop lower to the see like any porn or anything. It's amazing because of the things I've noticed, and that this is over the course of a couple of years. It's not like, ooh, one time I masturbated. No, generally speaking, I had such an issue with it. Even when I was stupid, I would say to myself, oh yeah, let me get rid of this because this is awful. But of course, I'm bad at breaking habits. I was bad at breaking habits, so I just, "Ooh," until I learned about Eurotophobia, then I quit it. I've been off for so long now. But I feel like that can be applied to basically any of you. If you have a fear of like socializing or something, like, or no, that's not a good example. Like, there's some fears that I believe, generally speaking, it's for the better than the worse. Now let's look at the worst, which is obviously socializing, because I brought that up. If you have a fear of socialization, you're really not gonna get far in whatever you're trying to do. You can't like get in a group and talk to people. You can't like, "Ooh, I'm getting nervous to go up and talk to people." You're never gonna get much done at that point. And so it's one of those fears where it's like, okay, I gotta get rid of this. I can't have this no more. You know? So, like, how would I generalize what a fear, like, when you should change it, when you shouldn't? Generally speaking, I think that's up to you in some part. I feel like there is a general layout, but of course, I'm not a doctor and like every single fear ever made. Then I would be a super genius. I don't know. And plus, it would just be useless knowledge for me. So, like, if you see like a fear of anything, you just gotta think, should I keep that? Should I remove that? Is it gonna make me go farther in my life? Or is it gonna keep holding me down? But I generally think, in like all sense of the words, anxiety is amazing for you. If you can experience any kind of anxiety at the beginning of something, that means you're doing it right. That means you're getting into it, and you're probably going to be better than half of the people you come across. Like, I would rather be anxious about something than not. That means you're thinking about it. That means you're caring about it. And even if the anxiety goes away, that means you're getting more comfortable for it. So generally speaking, if you have a fear of something, then I think that could show you, like, I can get better at this. I can improve this. I can push myself forwards with this anxiety, with this fear, and just make it more farther in my life. Because wouldn't you think that someone has a lower IQ if they've never feared anything? Or if they fear a couple things? I would 100% bet my money that if you fear something, you're more smarter than someone who's not. Like, the archetype is that people who don't fear anything, they're just generally just like badass, fucking brave people. And that there is a place for not fearing something. That's what irrational fears are. That's what a phobia is. But generally speaking, if you can make a rational fear about something, that's rationality. That's why it's in the name. That's why you need to have those fears in order to push yourself. Better yet, if you have a fear and you just go, oh god, my anxiety, and then after like a couple months drops down, then doesn't that mean you just overcame a challenge? Doesn't that make you a step over everybody? You've removed a fear that you had that like a lot of people wouldn't have or something. That I think is just like a generalization of it or just some weird thoughts. You can of course disagree, but from my viewpoint, fear itself is something that you can use basically every day. If you can if you have a fear generally in your like everyday life, you know it exists, then I would say that you should use that to your benefit. If you use it and strive to get rid of bad habits, then go for it. Like, oh, I have a fear of like smoking cigarettes. That's perfectly fine. I know that's not like a common fear, but it is. But then you have the other side, which is still good. It's still good. Like, let's say I have a fear of sharks. If I remove my fear of sharks, I'm also better off. Fear goes either way. It's like right here, and you can either branch off here to or here. And that's something that most people just generally don't notice. People only see the bad side, which is over here. It's like a great wall here. But nobody sees this. This fear, like fear is not just bad. And I know it. I am suffering from a fear, which is on this side. And obviously, we've all had a fear on this side. I had a fear of darkness. I couldn't stand to be in the dark whatsoever. Of course, now I'm in the dark. Now I'm able to sleep in the dark. If you've seen a single sleeping stream, I barely have my lights on when I sleep. It's both ways. I think that we need to see that it's more multifaceted than one-sided. And if you can realize that, if you can take away anything from this video, is that if you directly look at fear in the eyes and you say what you want to do to it, I want to remove you, I'm gonna use you to be better, then you're just better than most people. Because nobody looks this deep. Nobody sees their fears as a type of platform which they can jump off to become a better person. It's not like you have to have a lack of a fear just to be better at it than most people. Am I right? Like, that's the way I see it. Of course, like, am I gonna be affected if I see, like, porn or something and I come, like, really anxious, like I did that one Tattletale episode? Obviously that's not gonna feel good. But is it gonna keep me away from the thing that I can have the choice over and then change myself for that? Like, say, I hate porn. One, I don't like what happens when I do it. And two, I have a fear when I get really bad anxiety from it. Like, that's it. I think that it's that simple. And hopefully you guys learned something from this. That's why I make these videos. All the socials down in the description because that's all you gotta know. And I hope you have a good day. Bye bye!